For the front of the album, here on this where it opens to your right, we're going to leave this in here blank because we don't want anything to hinder it unless I decide later that a pocket maybe can go in here. I don't know yet, or some trim. So for now, we're just going to do this, and we're going to keep it flat because remember, this album becomes the drawer of our easel box that we will be making later. So you want to make sure this stays flat. So this is the June pattern paper. I did need to order an extra set of just the month of June so that I will have enough for my box. So I used what came with my collection on this, and then I'm using images from the June that I matted on black. These are all from the Cutter Parts of June. But then I took a strip of the flowers from May and I matted this onto black. So this is going to become like a pocket. Let's see where I want this, about right here maybe, so that you can tuck notes or maybe a single card or two, an envelope or something in there. So I am going to just put glue. This is going to be flat on both sides. And this strip, the strip measures 1.5 inches. I believe the flower part does. Let's see here. Yes, the flowers are 1.5 inches, so then you cut your black cardstock just a little bit wider. Same length. The length is, for what you need for the cover, is 8 3/8. Yes, 8 3/8. So I'm going to go ahead and place this down about right here. I wanted it more towards the bottom edge, but not all the way on the bottom. So I'm burnishing this right here. So next I'm going to glue this sunflower daisy with the bee. I just love that bee right there. I'm going to glue it here at an angle on the bottom. And I do want it attached here and here. So I'm going to put my finger right about there. And the glue is going to go down below my fingers, like this. And make sure that it is staying within this part here. You don't want it attached down. So I'm going to take my ruler and make sure that I'm not gluing that down right there. Take something, maybe a piece of paper would work better. Let me get some cardstock. So yeah, and we got our pocket there. Make sure that stays there. And then this image here, I like it, so I am going to attach this whole thing down. Don't cover up that bee much. So I'm going to touch it down right there, even with the bottom here. You can still see these flowers underneath. And then this one I matted, but I'm just going to slip it in back here like that for now. Okay? So yes, this one sticks up just a little bit. I could attach it down here. I'll decide when I put it in the book. So that's that part of the cover, keeping it nice and flat so that it will go in to the easel box. And let me look and see if there's anything else I want to add. Okay, so I did go ahead and glue this edge right here down. So the pocket is from here over. Simply because this is the side that's going to go into the box. And then I did add these white, pearl looking, fairly flat trim here on this, just 3 corners. And I double checked before. I have the box sleeve made, and so this will fit in there. I just kind of start with the bottom and just push it in so So there's plenty of room as long as your flat things you put on there make clear inside this box. So this box will not be finished for a few days yet. There'll be a tutorial on how to make that. So for now we're focusing on this album. I have, you just open it up so we have it blank in here like this. And I have finished the inside cover, the January, February, March. And so I'm ready to start on April, May, and June. I do have all the pattern papers in, so you see that in the tutorial. And I will have a showcase video of the whole project after it's all finished. So in this video, we're going to start decorating each individual page for the month of the year. So this first one is January. And what I have done is I'm going to be putting a pocket on every page. Some will be across the whole bottom. Some will just be in the corner or in the center. So we're going to have different pockets throughout this to hold cards that you might want to purchase or make to send to someone. And of course we're going to have the calendars in here, and we have some elements in here. So I went through the cut aparts, so like this one here, and I've saved in one sheet, but I have cut some of these elements up. Some will be used on cards and some will be used on the page. We're going to do the pages of the album. I'm going to try in each video do 3 months, so we'll have 4 different decorating. Now I'm not showing you how I make all the elements. You can do that on your own. Just go through your stash. I found some different treatments here that I want on the corner. I matted this one to black, and I will share the measurements on this pocket. This one I cut out and matted it to black. I added some gold trim that I had, these little vines, I guess you want to call them, of sprigs, and some stickers from my stash that I had bought last year. So I'm using stickers, and I'm using blue seam binding ribbon that I have scrunched up with water and then dried. And then I made some tags out of black cardstock. This is a short tag from the cut aparts. I think I've already cut that page, so I can't show you. So all that's in your collection except for these stickers. I cut out the Winter Wonderland. So this made this tag. This one I made with some pom-pom ball trim that I had, and the seam binding ribbon. I added some a snowflake and mittens on this, and then I put snowfall that I just wrapped around because it's too wide for this, and then another sticker here. I'll show you that one. I have different things that I have matted and cut out. This is a mat for that. Then I matted this to black. So now I'm ready to arrange this. And this, I think I matted this to some of the blue solid from January. So I think that's just going to tuck in the pocket. So the first thing we're going to do is to make this size of a pocket, you need to cut cardstock to 9 inches by 3. And then you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch and at 8.5. And then when you fold these under, it's going to fit perfectly on this page. I am not doing the fold out here. If you want to, you would need to add a 1/2 inch to your height. If you need your pocket to be thicker for things, I'm going to keep mine more flat. And this piece, I think I want here at the top of the page, about like that. So I'm going to see how this one I did mat it, and I left it open in case I want to tuck something in there. So I may do the same here just in case. So I'm going to look and see. I'm going to do it at a slight angle, and then I want this pocket down here. So that's going to work fine. So let's go ahead, if you've made one of these, and you can decorate yours up any way you want to. Just have a lot of fun with all the different elements. You may like a cut apart better than the one I've used, and that's fine. You've got a lot to work with on this collection on the cut apart sheets. Okay, I'm going to set this in here, kind of like that. Whoops, I don't want it sticking over. So you got your left glued, your right, and a bottom. So that's going to leave this top open just in case we want to stick something in there. May not. Now then, take your pocket. I'm going to put glue on each 1/2 inch flap on the back, and then right along the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to get this on here. Just fit it. Make sure it doesn't extend off the page. And burnish it down. Take your matting piece, and I made mine smaller so I have more black around it, so I cut this one to 7 3/4 instead of 7 7/8. You do what you want on yours, and this is 2 and a little over, just a little bit under 2 3/4 for the 3 inch. So I'm just going to leave it right there. Let's grab my ink. I don't think I've inked it yet. So put glue on the back side of your pattern paper to mat the front of the pocket. So this is going to have a bigger margin around it. That's okay. I wanted more black showing on that. Okay. I'll burnish that down. Now this January, I was thinking it's going to go in there, but I've got all that pretty stuff, so it's going to kind of like stick out like that. Or I'm going to clip it to this other one in there. So let's do some stuff here on the front. This one I want here. Hope smiles from the threshold of the year to come, whispering it will be happier. I'm going to put glue on this. And then we have these for sure. I'm going to stick in my pocket like that. And then I think I want these little stamps. It says wintry and snowy. I put those at the top. To finish up this page, I'm going to add this cut apart of the snowman. I just love this image. So I'm going to kind of tuck it just a little bit underneath this other one and let it peek out above. So put my thumb where I don't want any glue. So like a line of glue right here. And then I'm going to stay away from the corners to make sure I don't have any oozing out. And then I'm just going to slip this in right here and line it up down here. And there we go. Burnish that down. So we've got our tags in here, and then this charm hangs down. Okay, so I've got this the way I like it. I did make a quick New Year's card using a white heavy cardstock. And then I layered some of the papers from the January patterns, or sentiments, the backs of them. And then one of the cut aparts, a snowflake, and then I added a glittery snowflake sticker, and then just the Happy New Year the cut aparts. So it's a real simple card, and your cards can go in your pocket just like this. So I'm just putting in one for now. You can put your card in your envelopes, and like I said, if you want a pocket that is thicker, then you would need to add a 1/2 inch on the bottom and score it a 1/2 inch and then glue it there. I'm going to keep mine probably flat. I may do, depends on the month, I may do a couple of thicker pockets where I might have more cards going on, like for Christmas or October or something like that. So now I've decided here on this side I do want a pocket to hold these sizes of calendars. Make this pocket. So out of black cardstock I cut one piece that is 8 inches by 4.5. You're going to score the 8-inch side at a 1/2 inch and 7.5. Turn it, score your 4.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch. Miter cut the corners here, and then we're going to fold this up to glue it down into the book. So I'm going to kind of eyeball it and make the spacings here on the left and the right and the bottom equal if I can. So glue on your flaps or score tape if that's what you want to use. And I'm making this pocket have the flap on the bottom so that it can hold a little bit more than the other one I have on the January page, because I'm going to be putting at least 3 of the calendars in here in the top. So I'm going to burnish this down. Like that. Then I cut the pattern paper. I'm going to use this blue. I've already inked. Yes, I've already inked the edges. And so I cut this to 6 3/4 wide by 3 3/4 tall. I'm going to use the dark blue side. And I'm just going to lay that on there and kind of center everything up. Whoops. And burnish that down. And then I wanted a trim piece out of a scrap of paper, so I'm using the dots to match over here. Now see, this is going to slide in, and I wanted just the part of it to show the name of the month of the calendar. So I'm going to put glue on just the bottom half of this so it can stick up. Create like a border here. I should have made my pocket just a smidge taller, but this is going to work out just fine. Okay, so for this pocket here, I decided to make the dotted trim the full width of the pocket. So this piece is actually cut to 7 inches wide by 1 inch tall, and I did mat a little bit of black on the bottom underneath it. And then I, from each of the first 6 months of the year, from January through June, I cut out these little stamps, and this is what I'm going to be attaching to this bottom here. So I'm going to put March down first. And so there's 3 or 4 of these, 4 I think maybe that you can choose from. So I'm going to put March down about right here. So it's about from the black edge, about 7/8 of an inch from the black edge here. So put that down there, and then January. Oops, I should have put February there. Let me see if I can get it up. I don't know why I put March there. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, I still can get it up. Tore up the paper there a little bit. That's okay. So put February down first. I don't know what I was thinking. So here goes February, about, like I said, 7/8 of an inch from there. So there's February. So we got January, February, March, and I have April, May, and June. So the Mother's Day one is going to go down next. And again, about 7/8 of an inch from that outer edge, Mother's Day. And then we can take January. And I'm just going to kind of lap it over a little bit, kind of turn it. And then March is going to go right there on top. Mother's Day. This is April. Got the Easter Bunny. I don't know if next year if Easter's in April or not, but it's still a good, spring image. So we're going to place it there. And then we have June. And you might decide to choose the wedding cake or one of the other stamps. I'm going to use the bee. And we want it to be there on the edge. Okay, so there's that side there. If you want to add something else here, you can. I might look for some kind of flower or something, or maybe a different piece of trim along that, so I'll see what I've got. So here on my trim of my pocket here on the inside cover, I added 2 of these white pearl looking trims that I have in my stash, and then I cut this out of the June Sentiments, and So the Adventure Begins. I think that's perfect for in here on the first side, and I matted it to the black cardstock, and then I used scraps and made 2 layers of cardstock to give it just a little bit of lift. So now I'm going to put glue on this and on this, so you want the whole thing glued down. And I'm going to line it up so that it goes on part of the trim up here, the dotted trim, and then down into these stamps here for the first 6 months of the year. So I really like how that turned out. And let me move this down a little bit, and you can see the first page with 1 card in it so far and some tags. So you can scoot that over a little bit, and you can see this card. Got these charms. I really love how that turned out. So that's that. I'll be adding the other 5 calendars like this into this part. I don't know if I will mat all of them. Probably will, to make them all the same size. I should have thought that that makes them thicker, but I think they'll work out okay. And you know, you could also put pictures back here if you wanted to. So I think I like how that turned out. So now we're ready to move on to February. Of course, with this thickness, it's going to make it a little harder to work on, but not too bad. For February, I've taken the February cut apart of the birds and matted it onto black. Then I made a simple card with this cut apart, put it on a white heavy-duty cardstock, and we've made a pocket. Your pocket should measure for February 6 inches by 4, and then score the 6-inch side at 1/2 and at 5 1/2. Turn and score your 4-inch side at 1/2 inch. Miter cut the corners, and then you're just going to fold this up and burnish the flaps down. So we're going to put a pocket about right here on this page. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and mat it. So let me get the measurements here. I cut these at 4 7/8 by 3 3/8. 4 7/8 by 3 3/8 tall. And that's from the February, the back side of these hearts, which is the plaid. So I'm going to go ahead and, before I put the pocket down, I'm going to go ahead and glue this side on, because I'm going to take some lace and create a lace belly band on this pocket, just because it's Valentine's, February. I want it to be really lacy looking on part of this. So go ahead and mat this piece down. And with these folded, I'm going to take my piece of lace, and I cut this lace. It's about 5 3/4 to get my design to fit on the way I want it to. So you will have to cut it the way you might need to. We're not going to put any adhesive in the back of it, just on the side where it's wrapped. So I'm going to take some score tape, got the 3/8 inch, and I'm just going to put it right here on the end pieces. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, the backing off, on both sides. And take my lace, place it where I want it on the front, kind of centered. And I want the pearls kind of balanced. So that's why I'm not attaching it down. I cut it where I did. So it's not quite a 1/2 inch of the lace. And then you pull it as tight as you can, keep it straight, and wrap the other end around to the back side like that. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this bottom flap, and then I'm going to put some over the lace, and where I don't have any glue on this other part, but you want to put some on the lace like that. Now we're going to position this pocket. Getting it straight. Isn't that lace pretty? And it doesn't have to be perfectly centered, just wherever you can get it on there. Nice and straight. So like that, and then you can slide things in. Now this is where the card's going to go, so that double check that should fit for my card. And then I want this one to fit up in here. So take the card out for now. This is going to be on an angle. And I didn't use this as a pocket on the other side, so I probably won't here either, because it's close to the top, so that doesn't work very well for a pocket. Just put it on here and burnish that down. Now then the card will go inside. And then I matted 2 of the flower stamps from February, and I'm going to attach them down here. Like that. And the other one over the top, overlapping a little bit. Okay, there's that so far. I'm going to add some more things. I'm going to look in my stash, see what I've got to add. I want to be sure and add some ribbon, and we'll finish this page up. I found a few things that I want to add into this page. So we've got the card here, the stamps, the February, the belly band. So from the cut aparts, I cut out this beautiful image here, and then I tied and glued on a seam binding ribbon bow, and then a charm that I had in my stash, silver charm with the charm holder. So instead of chain or anything, I just tied some button string here on the top and knotted it. And I did bat this onto some of the red or the pink solids from the February collection, and this is going to slide in here like that. But I want to stop a stopper that holds it, a placeholder. So I took another cut apart that says "Be My Valentine" and matted it to black. So I'm going to take my glue, and I'm just going to make sure I'm doing it on the bottom, a line of glue right here on the bottom. So this was going to seal this off a little bit. So I'm going to pull this up and kind of center this so that the bottom is off the edge, and that's what's gluing down. Whoops. Gotta make sure I am centered where I want it, and hold that down and burnish. I may need to put a little extra glue on that because I do have a kind of a raised section there. So I just want to make sure there's plenty of glue. If you need to use score tape, that's fine. But right there, I've got the glue, and I'm just going to hold it for a second. Okay, so I'll let that dry. So now this will just kind of tuck down in there and through that lace belly band, and it won't go any further out the bottom. So you can tilt it or keep it straight. Then I made 2 tags. These are out of the cut-aparts. I did not mat them. I just left them the cardstock. I put Together Forever from the cut-aparts there. And then I just added ribbon, seam binding ribbon, and tied a bow around it with some of the button twine and added one of those pearl pieces from my stash. So these are just going to tuck in here, and that stopper will also keep them from falling out. This tag has just a bit of braided trim that I had, some white. I thought it was pretty for that. So give it some variety. There we go, like that. And then this tucks down, and we've got this one here. So, okay, then the card. And then I also, the cut-aparts, I matted it to black. In all the world there is no love for you like mine, Maya Angelou. So I put some more of those pearl trims on the edge from my stash, and I am going to glue that at an angle here at the top. So I'm just put glue on that. Slip that in. Make sure it doesn't stick out anywhere, but there we go. And then in my stash, I found these Valentine letters. I can't even remember how long I've had them. They've got a little bit of foam on them. They're still sticky, so I don't know if I've had them a long time, but it spells out love, but I'm still going to use some glue. And I am going to arrange these here on the side of this cut apart. So whatever you might have in your stash, you might have some stickers. You could punch out some circles out of the paper, or maybe use some buttons. Anything that you could use just to add a little extra trim right there on that area. I really liked the spray that I had, the gold pearls for January, but I don't have anything for February, and I also don't want to use the exact same thing on every trim, on every page. Okay, there we go. I'm going to let those dry. So that is the February page. And in this video, the next one will be March, and then it'll be a different video tutorial for the next 3 months. So I'm just going to do 3 months in each video to keep them from being really long and give me some time in between to finish and work on each one. So let me hold this up so you can see. Love how it turned out. Okay, so we're ready for March. So for March, I decided to make the layout the same as February, with the elements, of course, for March. So here at the top, we have the March image with the horses, and I added 4 gold-colored rhinestones in a row because I think of gold with March and pot of gold and all that. So this is going to go right about here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my glue. And I did mat this to some black cardstock to kind of to make it stand out just a little bit from the other green on the background. So you've got the plaid. I left the plaid in on this one. So this one's just a tad wider and longer than the one I had for February. Just a little bit, not much. Okay, so that goes there. And then I picked from the Cut Apart's Leprechaun Kisses, Shamrock Wishes, good for one kiss and one wish. Then I added smaller gold rhinestones on the corners of this one. So it's going to go opposite here, just about there. Okay, so we do want a pocket. Make sure it fits in here. It's going to fit a little lower than this other one. But that's the pocket the same way we did for February. Cut your cardstock to, oops, that's upside down, to 6 inch by 4. Score at a 1/2 inch, 5 1/2, turn and score at a 1/2 inch. Angle and miter cut the corners, fold it back, score tape on both sides. First, put your pattern paper down. I'm using the plaid, and it is 4 7/8 by 3 3/8. And we're going to glue this down. So this is the back side of the shamrocks in the calendar collection that you can order from Country Craft Creations. This is by Authentique. It's a beautiful, beautiful heavyweight designer paper. So let's get this on here. I'm going to burnish this down. And for the trim, I chose this braided ribbon with the gold threads and pearls, because I think the gold, again, goes with the theme of a shamrock. So this is going to be a belly band as well. So I'm going to peel one side off here of the score tape. And just a little bit of this end goes here in the middle. That. I'm going to bring it all the way across. I'm going to go ahead and take this side off. Pull it as tight as I can, keeping it straight. You want it tight. Whoops, that one's coming loose. Make sure it stays in there. Those pearls, I may cut those away on the back side. So I'm going to pull it around there, press it down. It's a little looser than I want. Pull it up and move it a little bit. There we go. So I think these pearls need to be cut out if possible. So I'm going to turn the camera off and go ahead and do that. So I cut away the pearls within the stitching here on both sides in the 1/2 inch section, and then I added glue on the end pearls to kind of hold them in place, just kind of like right here. So it's going to depend on your trim and your treatment here. So I'm putting glue now on the lace or the braided trim that I have, and then I'm going to put glue on this bottom flap. And we're going to put this into the book and move it up a little bit, kind of make it about the same distance as the other one. It is going to go over this picture here a little bit, and that's okay. So let's wipe off any excess glue and burnish our pocket in. Bone folder, especially right here. Okay, so I made from one of the cut aparts. I like this one with the horseshoe, good luck. Matted it to some of the green from the collection, the green solid for March. Made a seam binding bow and spritzed it and wrinkled it up. This is from Country Craft Creations also. This is kind of like a dark olive green. And then I added a vintage button that I had in my stash, so any kind of, and it's really flat, so make sure it's kind of flat. I love vintage buttons that have the old thread still in it. So this one still has it in there. It's kind of got a gold in the back and kind of a golden brown color. So I think that's going to be really pretty right here. And as before, we need a stopper to keep things from falling out. So I cut the St. Patrick's Day, matted it to the black, and just along the bottom edge, put a good amount of glue because last time I had to do it twice. And I'm going to center this on the bottom with just that bottom edge being glued down. I'm going to burnish this down and hold it. So this one just kind of slides down in there like that. And then I've already made a couple of tags out of the cut apart papers. This one has that same seam binding ribbon color that I spritzed and wrinkled up. I used a bright green button twine tied around it, and then I added one of the gold rhinestones. And this one I found a piece of green with this white stitching ribbon in my stash, and I added pot of gold from the cut aparts. So these just slip in here behind this belly band and use the stopper to keep them in place. I'm going to scoot this one over. There we go. And then I made a card out of the white cardstock, matted this to the green solid, and then trimmed it down to fit so it says good luck. So I just love that image. So that of course goes into the pocket like that. And then I matted the two of the stamps from the cut aparts. So I'm looking to see, I want to make sure I put these on the way I want them to be, like kind of opposite mirrors. So this one's going to go there, and pay attention to the direction. You don't want them upside down. So I got the number 2 at the bottom here. And the flowers right here. Okay. So this will finish up March. Right there. Okay, so there's February and March on our calendar pages. And so I'm going to keep working. Again, that's the end of this particular video. There will be 4 more. There'll be a total of 4 of the decorating of the pages. So this, I'll do 3 months on each one. So I've done January, February, and March. So our next ones will be April, May, and June for the next decorating video. Thanks. Bye-bye.